Thank you. It's my fourth presentation in a row here. So for some of the folks that have followed me over the journey, I started here in 22 when I was negotiating the acquisition of a share in the Carpentaria joint venture, and our partner there is Glencore. We then started drilling in 23, drilled more in 24, and hence the Cloncurry Mongoose deposit sits there ready for exploitation. So if I kick off here, it's where we're priced at. So fundamentally, if I start, I put Cloncurry at the back, but I'll talk about it first. We've got that deposit up to a state where we can now be in a position to talk seriously to our neighbours at True North. It's adjacent to and part of their Taipan deposit. So fundamentally, it's a case of trying to unlock value. True North and ourselves have been talking a lot about pricing and the structure of this particular deal, and the only hiccup along the way, of course, is Glencore, who seem to be in a state of paralysis at the moment as there's mass firings and all sorts of stuff going on within that organisation. However, I'll talk about it a little more as I get back towards the end of this presentation and give you a little bit more colour on it. So, whilst the work at Cloncurry is sort of in abeyance, because I'm not going to spend any more money there at the moment, we've been casting around for projects, and the title of this thing, New Nevada Projects, sort of hit our desk late last year. We started doing a little bit of DD earlier this year and closed a deal on them literally about a month ago. So all been announced, all out there. I've been looking for a gold project since about 2016. If ever I'm involved in grassroots exploration, I'm very sensitive to price. There's some good reasons for that because it's difficult. Most fail. So the entry price is critical to me. So I've paid 150 grand US for these 4 projects. They've come from a company who I'm very familiar with. We have, we're not associated, but we certainly have a lot of cross links there. They have 2 much more advanced projects and are focusing, or have been focusing, all of their activities on them for some time. So they wanted to find a good home for this, so it's found its way into us, and we're not unhappy about that because we're in something called the Walker Lane trend. If anybody's familiar with Nevada, they'll know that there's a lot of mines through there, gold, copper, silver, some big, some small, a lot in between. So very fertile area, and we're pretty excited to go there. First cab off the rank that we've started doing some DD on and diving into the geological base is Caisson. So nice name. Really nice high-grade chips coming out of that. We've also inherited 700 soil samples. None of this went into a database at all because by the time this all sort of came together, the other group had moved on to their more advanced projects. So we're packaging all that up at the moment. There'll be good news flow coming out of this. I guess if I just go back to that last slide, you can see just next to the Caisson project dot, there's something called Lapon Rose. So that's a Canadian listed company. They're literally two kilometres from us, somewhat on trend from what we're doing. So we're getting a feel for what we might be dealing with here. And they've been getting some pretty good numbers from their drilling. So the plan at Caisson is get the soils in. We're going to be on site next month, July, and potentially drilling it around, I guess, September. So that's our plan. This is just a lift, basically, from the other company, just to give you a feel for some of the other projects. So we popped these in. We haven't done much work at all on Spitfire, but certainly from what you see on the slide there, it's more than interesting, and certainly something that we'll be doing more work on. Similar with Top Gun, the other company did a little bit of work, Gold 50, did a few holes into it. We'll do more work there. There's one other project which I haven't got up here because we're sort of come release on that, and that's the Broken Hills project, which we are now wholly engaged with, and there'll be some news out on that next week. So whilst we were putting together the Nevada play to make sure we had something to do, because you die and wither on the vine as a junior if you're not doing anything, we opened up the Yukon project database. The reason we did this was because our neighbour Fireweed Metals announced substantial funding from the US Defence Department, and also the Canadian Infrastructure Fund, which is upgrading roads and whatnot all around us. So we opened it up, and we were basically looking at the zinc, which we discovered was pretty high in germanium. So a bit of a buzzword around. We thought we'd better look at it. There's been a lot of test work done on this, so it looks interesting. But what was even more of a revelation was, and something we knew nothing about, was the Nishka gold prospect. So it's a big footprint. You can see it there, 2.5 k's by 1.5 k's. If that was sitting in WA, we'd probably be in a bit of a lather about it. It has all the hallmarks of something that may be more than interesting, but again, we need to get on the ground, go and have a look at it. We're planning to go there with a bit of luck the back end of July, because we need all the snow off the ground. So we're aware that that's pretty close, so we'll get up there, have a good look. Our partners in this project, I don't know if anybody in the room has followed or been aware of something in Canada called Snowline Gold. Snowline is effectively our partner in the original prospector, put this particular play into the prior name company Overland. So again, just an inherited thing. Snowline's currently 10 million ounces. Lovely grade. They just released their PEA on it. Fantastic economics. Terrific deposit. A lot of chatter in the market that will continue to get bigger. So it's a bit of one of those ones in the Yukon. There's another company up there as well called Sitka. Sitka's getting similar numbers. They have intersections of 300 to 500 metres, going anywhere between 1 and 5 grams, with sweet spots in them. So they're interesting, and that's why we need to get on the ground. The association, the reason I mention the Snowline guys is we get on very well with them. A little bit of background is the guy behind it, Ron Badal, a little bit older than me, terrific guy. He's a geo by background, but been sort of prospecting and doing deals all of his life. And of course, at the age of 68, he's got the big one. And all power to Ron, he's one of the good guys. But the support that we get from Ron and his son, Scott, who runs Snowline, is fantastic. So we can leverage off all of their people, helicopters, dare I say it, stuff like that we need, so we can actually get on the ground, have a really good look at this play and see what we've got. In Ron's view, and bear in mind, he has an interest, he thinks there's something there, and he was still trying to buy it off me recently. So we're kind of excited about that. It's it's big company maker type country, early days, but I think we'll know a lot once we get on the ground and we know exactly what we're looking for up there. So if we see anything that's interesting, we'll be straight to market to tell you all about it. The zinc, I'm sort of working backwards here, I apologise, but the zinc has that resource, 12.5 million tonnes. We don't think it's constrained. Again, we did a little bit more work on it. We got some other geos involved. There's a fault running through it. We think it's been offset. Maybe it gets bigger. Certainly, at some point, it's possibly saleable, and it fits into the whole plan around what our friends over at Fireweed are up to. So maybe there's value in that zinc deposit yet. And you can see here we've sort of mapped it up, the cross sections on it and what's going on there, and you can see the gallium numbers that we're sort of getting in there, and the germanium and stuff like that. So all interesting stuff, definitely worth money. It's a project that I've actually sold twice because I hate zinc, to be honest. I have to be honest. I've sold it twice, basically on option terms, and so we've generated a lot of money, 7 figures out of this thing, but nobody has ever made the final payment. And I think what happened there, they were Vancouver guys, so basically, dare I say it, carpetbagger types, you know, looking to get something cheap, move it on, don't pay too much. I'm being disrespectful, not from West Perth. They haven't settled. We've ended up with it. We had 2 bidders for it last year, believe it or not, and that all sort of fell over due to various reasons. So there's still parties out there interested in this project, and we'll keep talking. But in the interim, we really do want to have a look at Mishka because you know, I am the sort of guy, those that were here last year would know that at this time we were still, you know, we were halfway through drilling a 1,600 metre hole up at Cloncurry looking for Ernest Henry 2, and we got lots of nicks, but no nice big chunky intersection, but we saw a lot of smoke. So you can guess that I'm sort of the type of guy that doesn't want to die not knowing. And Ron Badal's trying to talk me out of it, but he's trying to talk me into it. I'm not quite sure what he's up to, but he's a good guy, and I'm sure we'll get all the support that we need in whatever we do up there. So swinging back into Cloncurry, you can see those that are not familiar with the story. So Mongoose is right next door to the Taipan deposit. It's contiguous. It's a bit of a no-brainer. I've already fundamentally on my side agreed terms with True North. Glencore, as I said, are in a state of, you know, paralysis. They are the proverbial kangaroo in the spotlight, and they won't make a decision. And it's quite extraordinary because it's clear that they're exiting Australia. Their only focus is zinc, oddly enough, and their focus, in my view, should be on getting all the juniors and mid-caps up in that northwest Queensland area actively looking for copper to stick into the plant and into the smelter. So that's my message to government. If I ever can find an ear amongst the bureaucracy, that they've got to be pushing Glencore to get going. So, for example, within our joint venture, we've spent $1.5–2 million on that EPM. They've probably spent in real terms over the last 5 years, 10 years that I've known of it, you know, they've probably spent in real dollars a couple $100,000. So we get on with stuff. We've built Mongoose into a deposit. It's now got realisable value, and it all just comes down to getting the deal done. And, you know, True North and ourselves just wait for Glencore to basically get off the pot. I always think it's next quarter. Bevan Jones, who runs True North, and I both sort of agree that probably this comes together before Christmas. So it will happen. The event for us, cash, some shares, and a mining agreement where we get a tail on copper production, plus kickers for the copper price. So I'm still a bull on copper. I haven't deserted copper. I do want the rest of the CJV still, but I'm not doing it on the terms that Glencore want. They had their opportunity to sell it to us for a couple of $1 million 2 years ago and didn't take it. So fundamentally, I just stare them in the eye and say, well, there's a new price out there, not quite sure what it is, somewhere between $0 and $1. But that said, there are targets still left within that joint venture that we would love to get our teeth into. They're walk-ups. They've probably got a big shot at generating copper. And as I said, you know, for the state of Queensland, it's extraordinarily important that we are up there drilling, finding more copper and pushing it into ISA, because it's just going to die otherwise. That's some of the intersections from October. Nice numbers, 100 metres, 0.5%, but basically from surface. So there's a lot of mineable material in there that fits completely within the gambit of what True North are up to. So the summary: Yukon, zinc, gold, germanium, gallium, even antimony, dare I say it, silver. We're going to be on site next month. We're going to go out, kick rocks and have a look and see if we can drill anything before the season closes. Nevada, much more immediate. We're quite bullish on some of the stuff we're seeing there, so I'm figuring that we're going to try and get a rig rolled in there by September. Cloncurry, sit tight, we'll cut the deal, we'll get more money out of it, that's my plan. hopefully put those funds back into the rest of the joint venture, or alternatively divert it into the other projects. And that's pretty much where we're at. Sorry about last year's hole, never quite came in, but we had a crack. Thank you.